All right, staying with the ANC, we're moving to the Youth League. A group of young people are calling for the disbandment of what it calls a purposeless stokvel of elders running the ANC Youth League. The group has gathered under the title the ANC Youth League Crisis Committee. It says the National Youth Task Team, which is a group of ANC elders currently administering the league, is illegitimate. The ANC Youth League's National Executive Committee, you may recall, was disbanded in July last year, and since then it's been administered by this task team. The task team has set a new date in the meantime of the 30th of November for the Youth League to convene a national conference and pick new leaders. To discuss, we're now joined by Luzuko Bashman, who is an ANC Youth League Crisis Committee Member. Mr. Bashman, thank you for joining us. Why do you believe the National Youth Task Team, which is the group of older ANC leaders sort of administering the Youth League, why do you believe it's illegitimate?
Thank you. Greetings to you and all the viewers of SABC News. Firstly, we had written and made these things compelling arguments about why we are saying it's illegitimate. The Constitution of the ANC defines youth between the ages of 14 to 35. That is the same Constitution that guides the ANC Youth League. Now, the establishment of the NYTT is a transgression of the ANC Youth League Constitution and the ANC Constitution, because it places youth affairs in the hands of people who fall outside of this constitutional requirement. What does this also impose? It imposes the reality that young people who are members of the ANC League cannot hold members of the ANC NYTT accountable for their actions in building the ANC Youth League, because they are not members of the ANC Youth League.
Yeah.
They cannot
Mr.
be held
Bashman,
accountable using the constitution of the Youth League.
if we go back to 2019, the Youth League had apparently been simply unable to convene a national conference to pick leaders for a very long time. The ANC mother body then said this task team would come in, but only to help the Youth League get ready for a conference. Apparently that's what the majority of Youth League members themselves wanted at the time. So what about any of that is illegitimate?
No, that's not quite true. Young people who are ourselves as members of the ANC League wanted the structure gone, because the structure in itself was in an internal war about their own issues and not affairs of the ANC Youth League. And therefore they were collapsed and unable to take us to a conference. And therefore the decision that was sought was that of dissolving the structure and then giving young people the responsibility to build their own organization. Throughout history, this has been the established practice from the time of the generations of Abo William Nkomo, Abo Macolisi Machombozi, Tambo, Mandela. It has been young people who have been tasked to build the organization of young people, not only for young people's struggles, but also to transform society, to deepen the struggle for liberation and the development of all of our people.
Okay, I understand that, but the task team now says that on the 30th of November, it's set a new date, a new conference is planned. That's when young people surely will pick other young leaders. Why can't you wait until the 30th of November?
That little flyer is an amateurish and childish response to the work we're doing as a crisis committee. If you pay careful attention to it, it comes after our press conference, it comes after we've taken decisions. There's absolutely no truth in that, and there's absolutely no credibility even in that decision. For a typical example, if I to give you one example, if they say we are going to be ready by November to sit conferences and etc., if you all understand the ANC League, one region, a metro, for example, more than 100 branches, you cannot fit 100 BGMs in 1 month. It's impossible.
Yeah.
So how are they going to do this thing? They want to steal branches. They want to promote negative tendencies of signature campaigns instead of having real young people in BGM engaged not just in the process of leadership, because building the organization is not merely about putting leaders but it is about building the consciousness of young people, building a program of action that responds to the struggles of young people of the day, and also championing and mobilizing the struggles of young people to mobilize them behind the vision of the ANC. What is this vision at this time? It is about
Mr. Bashman, can I get a question in? So you want to eject the task team. Does that mean you want the crisis committee to run the ANC Youth League? And what makes you and your other committee members legitimate leaders then?
Firstly, we have never said that we want as a crisis committee to run the affairs of the Youth League. But
so who will be in charge, Mr. Bashman?
We are young people in the ANC, and there are many other young people inside the ANC who meet the requirements constitutionally in terms of principle, in terms of their development, politically, organizationally, and ideologically, to serve this responsibility of building the organization of young people for the ruling party, which is our National Liberation Movement, the ANC.
But isn't the requirement that leaders have to be voted in by the majority of Youth League members or branches? Therefore, you have to wait until there is a conference and Youth League members or branches are allowed to vote, surely?
Every young person in South Africa who is a member of the ANC Youth League has an interest of the ANC Youth League going to conferences. Even ourselves as a crisis committee. In fact, our battle cry now is about the organization being given to young people so that we can build the organization credibly, honestly, and to ensure that young people get the organization into their own hands so that they can use it as an instrument of liberation for the struggles that they are facing. Today, young people are unemployed. Young people are facing gender-based violence struggles. They're facing femicide issues, skills deficit. As many young people are unemployed, they're unemployable because of the lack of skills. These are challenges that we want young people to address through their organization as the ANC Youth League that is properly, legitimately, principally, and honestly built by young people who are determined to ensure that we build credibility and restore the
All right, I'm just trying to get to the bottom of how you would have a legitimate leadership in place without a national conference. Do you think that the task team set up, the older ANC members are actually blocking a national conference, that they're not really working towards one? Is that what you're saying? Very quickly, please.
If they were, we would have seen regional conferences by now, would have seen provincial conferences by now. The task team was appointed in July last year. None of that has happened, to show that there's absolutely no interest in dealing with the business of building the organization of young people. The only thing we've seen is that the NYTT has been embroiled in factional battles in the ANC, which have got nothing to do with the struggles of young people, which have got nothing to do with taking the ANC Youth League to conference. That's why we reject that structure completely. It's a Mickey Mouse that must be removed, and young people must be given their organization back to their hands. This is the principle of stance we have made, and we're standing to this principle position.
All right, we'll see if we can get a response from that task team. That was Luzuko Bashman, a member of the ANC Youth League Crisis Committee and ANC Henry Abraham's branch secretary.